joga a bunda pra cima. E 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 joga a bunda pra cima. Joga a bunda pra cima, e joga a bunda pra cima, joga a bunda pra cima, e joga a bunda pra cima, joga a bunda pra cima, e joga a bunda pra cima, joga a bunda pra cima, e joga a bunda pra cima, 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 joga a bunda pra cima. 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 Joga a bunda pra cima.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Soccer's Overtime, your weekly look inside the San Diego Soccers and the Major Arena Soccer League. My name is Craig Elston, joined as always by Tony Sanchez here for Season 8, Episode 3. Tony, it's time to strike while the iron's hot. And by that, I mean the Empire Strikers are in town. And, you know, that's a hot time in the old town tonight, so let's get to it. Season's about to begin.
El clásico del Tour de California, Strikers versus Soccers. I am excited for the beginning of the season. We've been hearing what the roster is going to be. We'll update people on that, but now it's here. It's in a couple of hours. 1.5 sleep, depending on your sleep schedule. Or if you're too excited to sleep, maybe none.
Right? Hey, your mileage may vary on those grounds. I think I'm going to sleep well tonight. But we've got a big show for you tonight, to be sure. Let's let you know what's on the show tonight. It is almost go time. Friday, Black Friday. Season gets started with a doubleheader in the Midwest, and then the Soccers and Strikers. We've got all the latest on the Soccers roster as the club gets ready for the season opener against Empire. We'll give you a club preview to start off the show. I was at Soccers training on Tuesday night, last night, at Front Wave Arena. I brought home some gifts to share with the crowd. I'll have an interview with defender Mitchell Cardenas. I'll have an interview with Soccers goalkeeper Chris Toth. We'll play both of those for you, recorded last night, and Tony and I will ruminate upon their words and thoughts. Then we will be joined by Empire Strikers broadcaster Christian Filimon. He's back to preview the Strikers side of what's going on this season and also talk about who he's trying to wrangle for the latest MASL sponsors. We'll get into it with Philly. Another interview that was recorded a little bit earlier this afternoon because Christian is right now probably tipping his beak into a cold one at Honda Center where he's watching the Ducks play some NHL hockey tonight. So good on Christian for making some time for me earlier today and making time for all of us a little bit earlier today, seeing as he couldn't be here live with us. In MASL news, we'll talk about the playoff format. We've got a playoff format. And, it's pretty good, all things considered. It's pretty good. Yeah. We'll talk about that. In Soccers news, we'll have the match preview for the Black Friday season opener. Yeah, big show. Let's get to it. Soccer's Overtime, Season 8, Episode 3. If you're here and you're watching us on YouTube, thank you for being there. It's always great to have you out there. The folks that are live, if you can all please hit that thumbs up button right away. That is awesome because for a live broadcast, it's going to really help. Anybody who is watching us a little bit later on, cool. Thanks for being there. Appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving if you're watching us tomorrow. But if you can hit that like button, we'd be thankful. If you happen to be listening on the audio side of things and you can slash a 5-star rating, kind little written review, all of that is going to help MASL and Sockers fans get back to the show. And we say thank you as we finish our housekeeping and get on with the show. Okay, let's take a look to start things off today, Tony, seeing as obviously we don't have a match to review yet. Let's take a look at the San Diego Sockers season preview and give our best look at where the club stands going into the regular season. First thing is obvious. San Diego is a dominant force in the Major Arena Soccer League. They've had 3 20-plus win seasons since the 2021-22 campaign. Last year was another one of them, 20-4. They were a couple of overtime points away from winning the Shield. That turned out to be pretty important when all things was said and done. And Chihuahua wins the championship, beating them twice down at Corner Sport Arena. But now, of course, Chihuahua is gone. The zombie teams of Harrisburg, Dallas, and Texas, who were really there in name only in 2024-25, they're gone. That means it's an 8-team field, Tony, and that really is going to tighten things up, I think, in terms of adding some more parity to the overall table.
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, right? You almost distill any sort of teams that I don't want to say that, just kind of were there to make sure that there was enough games to round out the calendar. You can't just have teams drop in the middle of the season. But now with a much more condensed league, this is going to go ahead and just have these teams get to know each other a lot more. And in the indoor game, this is something that, it can lead to more intensity in matches, a quicker pace, some different looks at different teams. And like you mentioned, the parity aspect where right now you have the San Diego Sockers in the obvious top position. Anything below that, or even a Kansas City Comets can, hone a very good team with some of the teams here still available. But the Sockers, are in a prime position to once again regain that top spot in MASL. And really, they've been working for it. That's what the last couple seasons have been for the Sockers. They've been working to be able to make it to the top once again.
Yeah. And there's no question that from a top line 5-star, 4-star talent level, San Diego should be the favorite in the MASL this year. And I think the biggest reason why is because you confront the single biggest issue for San Diego coming into the season, which would be that some of their stars are getting extremely long in the tooth and toward the very end of their careers. And the team directly addresses both of those issues head on. Craig Charles is retiring. Nick Pereira comes in. And while Nick is just a couple years younger than Craig, I think those couple years matter, but also Nick is just a different size player. He's still got that U.S. beach soccer fitness to him. I think he's still got years to run. And he immediately fills in that target forward role. While Craig has already said he's going to be more power play, free kick, set piece. He'll be much more of a specialist on this year's squad. Then it's a different situation in goal because obviously the incumbent, Boris Pardo, while he has announced that this is his final year as an active player and he's transitioning into a coaching role, he's not settled to free kicks and special teams. He's going to be in the net just like Chris Toth will be in the net. Those two guys are going to split the net. But having Chris come in, 5-time goalkeeper of the year, the Toth family name restored to San Diego, back-to-back goalkeeper of the year, combined with Boris, the all-time wins leader. That's where you feel like, okay, at the top line, the Sockers are set up.
Yeah, and it's that experience is going to go ahead and carry this Sockers team forward. And it was really refreshing just hearing Craig Childs. Not only, he's been an inspiration for a lot of players, but just an inspiration to really how to go in gracefully to this side and these years in his career that he's had in order to be that leader. And same thing with Boris, right? Like you need that experience, you need that leadership in order to go ahead and teach the next generation. And this is a bigger discussion in terms of Front Wave Arena and the investment for the community, right? This is a future for the San Diego Sockers that needs to be sustainable, not just for this year. A championship this year is going to be phenomenal, but at the end of the day, like, you need to sustain this next year and the year after that and the year after that. This is a project that I really think has a lot more potential than what we've been able to see in the year one at Front Wave Arena with North County and captivating that crowd. And a lot of the things too, you can tell the new fans really kind of adapted to the fancy play style of Luis Morales, Sebastian, who was up there, and they really connected with those players, and likewise with the legends of the Sockers as well. And so this is a perfect pendulum kind of meeting at the perfect center of things. And for the Sockers, they have to be able to go ahead and take advantage of this year. No doubt about it.
I think one question that's just going to be very interesting to follow as the season goes along is how the Sockers coaching staff decides to split the net. And obviously, any injury situation would make it easy on them. But from what this guy understands on this day, there has not been communicated a direct, you're going to play this many, you're going to play this many, you're going to play this day, you're going to play that day. That hasn't happened. And I believe there's even an opportunity or a chance, Tony, that the two of them do it Team USA style in the opener and split the net like Chihuahua did. 50-50. One guy one half, one guy the other half. That's the kind of strategy that I think works for a game. And maybe for the younger goalkeeping tandem in Chihuahua, they made that work all season. But I never understood how. I never actually understood how they made that work. I don't think that's something the Sockers can do all year long.
Yeah, again, talking about that sustainability aspect, right? Like, we've seen Boris Pardo take a step back in a couple of these games and due to injury, but even then, given the opportunity for somebody like Xavier Snare-Williams to step in and really develop into something new. But this time, you don't even have to worry about that because you have a Chris Toth that can go a full game, a full match, a full run of matches, this whole series all on his own. He was doing in Tacoma, and he was doing a lot more work than he's scheduled to be doing here in San Diego. So this is interesting to kind of see what the development is going to be. And if it works for the Sockers, well, great. It's a great strategy. But what is going to be the best for the team moving forward? It'll be interesting to kind of see how those two things develop. But it's also going to have to do a lot with who's in front of them, who's allowing the players to have the goalkeepers to have so much work. Right? Is there a breakdown in the times that Toth is on there versus when the comfortability perhaps on the back line with Boris and net? So there's layers to be had. But either way, it's incredible to have both of them. I just saw like the back-to-back graphics right now. I put them up. I'm like,
right,
huh, that's so cool.
Yeah. No, it's really cool. It's one of those Cadillac or champagne problems, first world problems, however you want to put it, in terms of how are you going to split the net. That's why I didn't say it was a problem at all. I said it would be very interesting to see. It's going to be fascinating. And I truly don't think the coaches know. I think they might have an idea, but I think they are going to let the season tell the story a little bit. There's performances tell the story. Let the two of them push one another for playing time. There's going to be obvious inflection points going forward where you have, a back-to-back with travel. And in those cases, the young rookie third goalkeeper, Nathaniel Lindquist, who got signed this week, would probably be a player who would travel, to keep one veteran home for the second half of the back-to-back and have the other two go forward and play in the road game. All of that makes a lot of sense going forward. But for their strongest position, it's just going to be an interesting choice because either one of those guys would be very, very, very happy to start all 24 games and play all 60 minutes of all 24 games. So when you've got two guys hungry for the same spot, it'll be fascinating to see how that plays out. Now, it's not all sunshine and roses. And I think one of the big stories coming into this year is that for the first time honestly, that I can remember, at least in the MASL. I'd have to go back to find the last Soccer's roster. Wow, hang on. I think 2010-11 was the last Soccer's roster that didn't have a Tijuana player on the roster. Because it was 2011-12 that Eddie Velez joined the San Diego Sockers. And he was the banner carrier for a long time. And then along came Churas, along came Christian Gutierrez, along came so many players, Big Rojo, Little Rojo, right? Tortin, Luis Perez, Irvin Mojica, right? So many guys. And all of those guys in a different world would be battling for spots on the Sockers roster this year. None of them have retired. They're all around, and none of them are eligible to play in the MASL because none of them have United States P1 working visas. And the latest this year, we talked about it on a previous episode, but Christian Gutierrez not being on this team, I tell you what, Tony, a lot of people aren't going to talk about it. I think that's one of the biggest losses the Sockers have suffered in years. He's the sneakiest important player on the team.
Yeah, a driving force, an engine. He does everything that you need him to. You need somebody to go ahead and close down on defense in a flash. Christian Gutierrez has the leg for it. He's going to put that strong foot forward. You need him to then go ahead and get that same ball and get his own rebound and drive the entire length of the floor and score a solo goal to win you the game at the end of the match. Well, that's what he was able to do, and not to be able to have that. I mean, we talked about the Rojo tandem and the loss that had, but Gutierrez really filled in into those runs again along the boards, and it's unfortunate to be able to do that. I was actually talking with somebody over at the San Diego FC media availability working at Univision, and he remembered talking about Velez and the story that he did with him, and just how he connected with somebody from Tijuana, connected with somebody like that, and just again the human aspect of these players to really not be able to do what they do best at the highest level is just not what should be happening in terms of play for a league that wants to go ahead and grow. These are the things that are stifling it, and hopefully in the future, and it sounds like every season it kind of the grip gets tighter and tighter, and we keep saying, well, hopefully next year, but we can hope a little harder and hope that gets resolved in some way.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is this league needs to start being able to provably take in 10 million plus in revenue per year. It's really that simple. I've been told that so many times and over so many different years, that of all the things that the government is looking at in terms of how, why players are approved or not approved, it's that the league doesn't have the imprimatur of the U.S. government as being a serious professional league in the United States, because it's not bringing in 10 million plus in annual revenue. So that's why the league is so serious about trying to find better broadcast partners, better sponsorship partners. They don't want to have zombie teams that are generating no money for the league. They don't want to have incredibly successful teams generating no money for the league either. That doesn't help them anymore. A team dominating the league and generating no money, a team losing every game and generating no money. It's all the same for not getting Mexican players P1 working visas. So, the overall growth and health of the league will resolve this problem, and very little else will, because you can't blame it on ideology. You can't blame it on politics. It's been a Republican and a Democratic and multiple administrations where P1 visas have been denied to MASL players. So the Tijuana to San Diego connection, border closed for now. That Talent Has No Borders video, we'll put it on the shelf right now. Talent has a border. Taking a quick look at the position groups, obviously at forward, you've got two of the most prolific scorers in the league. You've got Nick Pereira and Tavoy Morgan. You've got two guys who are stylistically as different as could possibly be in Nick Pereira and Tavoy Morgan. I mean, they both hold the ball, but not the same way. Nick will hold the ball and find the passing lane and get the pass off. Tavoy is usually 1 or 2 touches and get the shot away. And between those two, though, you've got explosive power, you've got speed, you've got technique, you've got control, you've got passing ability, you've got a little bit of everything. The one thing you don't have is that D runner that's going to close in every time they run to the bench in Gutierrez. Right now, from what I'm hearing, Charlie Gonzalez's brother might get first shot at defensive runner, Jose Gonzalez, baby. And we'll see how that goes. There's other forwards on the team. There's other forwards in the lineup because Craig Giles is going to draw into the lineup, but he's not going to be in the forward rotation. So he's kind of eating a midfield spot in a way, but that doesn't mean Craig's in the midfield.
Yeah.
You're not going to see him tracking line to line all the time.
Maybe it's on his checklist, right? Like things to do and accomplish. Like one game, I'm going to go back and just run, just work. And this is just everything I got.
I don't know, Craig. Is that one of your bucket list goals? I don't know.
Bobblehead is going to get switched to him in a mid sprint of how great that sprint would be.
Hey, that futsal svelte 2012 Childs, maybe. Pushing 41. That's all I'm saying. In the midfield, you're going to see some big names lead the way, of course, in Charlie Gonzalez, Gabi Costa, Sebastian Mendez, and eventually Leonardo de Oliveira, although Leo took an injury in the last week during training, and he is listed as doubtful on the Soccer's player availability report that was sent to the league today. I think you can take doubtful and send it to that next level up to probably out. But when you look at Charlie, you look at Costa, you look at Mendez, those are 3 guys who all bring different things to the floor. Charlie and Gabby probably a little bit more similar in terms of what they're doing, having the ability. They want to be on the ball, right? They want to have that ball at their feet and be able to do 1-2s, pass and move. They're going to be involved in power play. They're going to be involved in top of the arc. Sebastian is more of that guy that can be a defender, a pest, and a speedy spark plug as the game goes on.
Yeah, and that's the player that, wants, like I said, wants the ball as a ball magnet, but this is always the biggest issue with having so much talent and so many people that can maneuver the ball and have different visions, as you need all those visions to align. And usually from what we've seen is everybody in the midfield gets along. There's only one ball. It's like my mom used to say, why don't they just give every player a ball and everybody stops fighting for it? That's not how soccer works, Mom. But at the end of the day, this midfield is stacked, and really the last year and how they were able to really be cohesive and run just hard. And it's a difficult midfield to get through. That's why Cerda, Cárdenas, Drew in the back were able to be so offensively minded and move forward and be a little bit more free, is because you're not asking for them to exhaust all that energy defensively because your midfield's taking it. The ball doesn't get to you, then there's nothing for you to do. Let's go ahead and move up and be an option up top. And with the midfielders available, it's like having an extra midfield up top whenever Drew and the defense integrates itself.
You got a veteran like Keiko Gontan for depth. Taylor Bond is a guy who can play multiple positions. He could be the defensive runner forward. He could play in a midfield role as an enforcer. All of those things are possible. And then, of course, there's a player or two I didn't mention right there when I was talking about guys that you could count on. One of them is Jesus Pacheco. And the reason I didn't say that was because with Ben Raymond being injured, also taking an injury in training over the course of the last couple of weeks, Pacheco likely drops back to start the season and is part of the defensive 4, but he will absolutely be a huge part of the midfield and the guy they're counting on to get goals, assists, to run, to get blocked shots. Pacheco is going to be a big part of this, but for now, he slots into the defense with Cerda, Mitchell Cardenas, Drew Ruggles, and of course, when Ben Raymond comes back soon, he will be with Drew, Mitchell, Cerda as the core 4.
Yeah, and it's a kind of wait your turn, Pacheco, and you will be featured. You will have opportunities, and you're gonna have to make the best of these opportunities to break through a really good soccer team, and it's not impossible. We've seen soccer's really be that. We saw Sebastian Mendes in his first year have a really good 1, 2, 3 first games, and then he struggled. He kind of, that individuality started kicking in. He was needed to learn the soccer's way and just kind of assimilate a little bit more in training, but eventually he understood and he got it. And once he was acclimated with the system, he became a no-brainer staple. You unleash Sebas, you're going to have to not worry about hustle, effort, and some really good offensive shots as well. But maybe this can be this for Pacheco this season is go ahead and learn these baby steps into the soccers. It might just be the opposite. Just shows us something that's absolutely phenomenal. Either way, I'm here for the ride.
Yeah. Injuries have been an issue for the Sockers in training camp. It feels like it's that way every year. And of course, you've got the long-term injury guys. Luis Pui Ortega took the second Achilles injury of his career at the beginning of the postseason last year. So he's around the team, but I can't imagine he'll play this year. I would think he's down for the season. Felipe Gonzalez is, as you know, perpetually on the verge of coming back. He's running around. He was on the training floor last night, but he's still listed as doubtful for the game on Friday. So eventually and hopefully you get Felipe back, and then, down the road, you get Pee Wee back. I don't think it'll be this year, but I'm not in his head and I'm not in the doctor's ears or the trainer's ears. So we'll let time dictate that. But there's one player that I did not mention in all those positional previews. And unfortunately, that's what we got to talk about right now. The Sockers, Tony, have a Luis Morales issue.
Uh-oh.
Luis Morales, who they just signed to a 5-year contract, didn't report to camp.
Ooh.
Has not been a part of Sockers training and will not play on Friday. And why he hasn't reported to training, I'm not sure. You can, and for the matter of a show like this, what I hear that I can't confirm along the way or hear from the horse's mouth, I'm not going to say. So there's a reason. It's not a legal or a medical issue or a family health issue or anything like that. It's a personal business issue, personal/business, but he ain't there. And it's a very open question as to when or if Luis Morales will play for the Sockers in 2025-26. And that is uncategorically bad news for the San Diego Sockers, because he should be one of the key players for the team. He could have been the highest scoring midfielder for the Sockers, at least for goals this year. He probably should be the highest scoring midfielder for goals, one of them in the league. And instead, for now, Luis Morales is on ice, a Socker in contract only.
Well, that's not good.
No, it's really bad.
Not good. Just even in a general sense of like, hey, dude, like you have a job to do. Like, don't no call, no show. Like that sends you to HR in any other world. I don't care what job it is. You just don't do that, right? Like in an official capacity, like at least have it be a reason, good or bad. But I mean, that's just for the team aspect. If we're just strictly talking about the Sockers, it's not good to have somebody who is on the trajectory to become a premier player in not just the Sockers, but in this league, a staple, and somebody who was getting endeared with the people who came over. And I mean, I mentioned it off the top with Luisito and people liking what he was offering. You see him repping the Mexican national team crest for futsal, and you see him here in these tournaments and Front Wave Arena and these games, and that's just very disappointing to hear. And so hopefully, again, here we go in hope mode. But I think that we are in a place where there's no room for unprofessionalism, especially in this team and in this season, with the stakes being what they are. And so hopefully this does get resolved, because I like seeing him play. I really like seeing him play and what he offered to this team. And hopefully he's in a position at some point to be able to offer to this team once again. But it seems like it's gonna be on him.
Well, the next thing I'm going to say, I don't want to be interpreted as like a critique of the player or the player's skills. Just my observation from last year when you and I were coming in as broadcasters, and I wasn't a member of the front office of the team in that type of organizational capacity. But what I saw from our broadcast booth was a guy that in the first few games he was with the Sockers was dynamite. He was plugged in, explosive, integrated, and really, really, really successful. And then he went out on a Kings League stint. And listen, the Kings League is a real, I don't want to say issue for the MASL, but it's a thing that's in the ecosystem that is going to take players away, not for the year, but for periods of the year. And in that sense, it almost resembles, in a weird way, outdoor soccer with international breaks, although there's no break. But, just guys like, okay, well, they're off with this other team for a little bit, and then they'll be back. And, Gabi Costa has played a lot of Kings League, and Luis Morales has played a lot of Kings League. And, if other guys on the team play Kings League, that, more power to them. It's not a super, super, super high compensating league. The MASL, if it were, P1 visas wouldn't be a problem. So because of that, guys need to get their dime. They need to, they need to get their nut wherever they can get it. But when he came back, and I remember us noting it on the broadcast many times, Tony, Luis kind of played an individual game within the Sockers team construct. A lot of times I remember saying it seems like he's out there on an island, and that there really wasn't a lot of passing. It was like, do we activate this area? Boop, activated. Okay, 80 going forward, 80 trying to score. And that's less impactful for the San Diego Sockers, less impactful. So, again, that's not a critique. It's just to say that what you need guys who are locked into the system, who are pulling the rope the same direction, pulling the oar the same direction, whatever you want for your cliche, but, a plugged in team. And if you have a plugged in team and you have an unplugged player, I think that loosens the plugs of everyone else along the way. So I hope that this is resolved along the way, however it's resolved, and that Luis Morales becomes a plugged in San Diego player. But if it doesn't happen that way, believe me, the Sockers have enough depth in their midfield and with the other talent they have in this team that they can completely ride away without Luis Morales and still get to where they want, the pinnacle.
Yeah, but and it's an opportunity. And then again, I'm just thinking about the context, and again, everything that's we haven't had confirmation, like you said, but like given the context of where world indoor football, futsal is right now, like yeah, that seems perfectly logical to what's happening. But again, es una oportunidad, vato. Like el jale, el trabajo, the job, you know, that's a commitment. And so you have to meet those dates. And so that's the thing where it's unfortunate to see, and just, I now you mentioned that, you highlight that individuality. Yeah, like there was moments where you can tell, like the two players that came in at the same time and had a similar trajectory was Sebastián Mendez and Luis Morales. And you can tell one that stayed and remained plugged in, and his growth within the team compared that to Luis Morales. Yeah, no, that's something that is very evident. And so, it's unfortunate, but you go to war with the army that you have, not the army that you want. And right now, Luis Morales isn't part of that army.
Yeah, but bottom line for San Diego, which at some points in the summer or fall probably had people around the league saying, well, there's a super team. There's one of those teams, just forget about it, give them the title. Only question is, do they go 24-0 or do they drop one along the way? Well, I'm not saying that I don't still think they're the favorites. I do. But when you take away a player like Christian Gutierrez and what he means to this team from a speed, stamina, youth standpoint, and Luis Morales, explosiveness, youth, speed, talent, those are 2 drops. Those are 2 drops. The other teams around the league are happy to have those 2 guys not playing for San Diego. It doesn't mean that they think that, oh, we got them now, guys. But those are losses, and those are losses that the Sockers will have to overcome this year. They will need to get defensive runner determination from whomever that player is to be out there and be the toughest guy on the floor in the fourth quarter and score empty net goals and take the ball away from a sixth attacker, because that's what Christian Gutierrez did all the time. And they're going to need somebody to pop those goals in the net. And they got plenty of guys to pop the goals in the net. So in that sense, of the 2, Gutierrez is by far the bigger loss, in my opinion. I don't even think it's close. 100%. Yeah. Like Luis, you can live or die without. You really wish you had him. You love the player. You'd love to have him long term. But if it's not going to work out, Gutierrez is the guy you want back first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, there's your Sockers team preview. We'll talk more about the league on the other end of our interview bracket. But now it's time to get into our interviews. And let's go ahead and start with Philly. We've talked about the soccer side of it. Let's get to the Empire side of things. Later on, we'll bring you Mitchell Cardenas and Chris Toth. But first up, as mentioned, he sends his regards in real time. But he was available a little bit earlier today, and we wanted to make sure we captured the interview to share with you. Tony, why don't you take it away?
Absolutely. Well, you're going to hear from him here first. He might be in town for Survivor Series as well. I know he's a big wrestling fan, but let's see what Christian, Philly, Filimon, and Greg Elston from Days Future Past have to offer.
All right, Tony, thanks so much. I know we wanted to line him up live, but he is, as we're playing this recording right now, watching them skating up and down the ice at the Honda Center, watching the Ducks quack around, but got a chance to catch up to my man, Christian Philly Filimon, and he's joining us here for a bit of a Strikers preview. Philly, how you doing, brother?
It's good to see you, my man. It's been a minute since you and I have gotten to hang out. It feels like the smoke just cleared from that trip to Chihuahua, and our bellies have fully digested everything that we had at Mochomo's, that incredible steakhouse, which I will miss in Distrito Uno. But I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to see you. I'm so happy the longest off season in professional sports is also almost over, and I can't wait to get back to some indoor.
Yeah, there is a Mochomo's in Tijuana. I researched. So one of these trips that you come down, we're going to have to go south of the border and get ourselves some delicious Sonoran beef once again. And also, I know that you originally had a plan to come on down for Soccer Strikers and stick around for SDFC versus LAFC in the conference final. I'm sorry that your travel plans were slightly disrupted by a bunch of naughty Canadians. But nonetheless, yeah, I know. It is great to have you here to talk about the other big Southern California soccer rivalry, of course, and that is the Sockers and the Strikers. Got the chance to meet in the playoffs last season. Noah Abassi wins Coach of the Year, bringing his no goalie system to MASL. What are the thoughts, rumblings, discussions around Empire getting ready for this second full Abassi season?
I mean, everybody's really excited, of course. I mean, and several players have, competed in off-season tournaments that have been successful. The same could be said about players on your squad. TST, bumpy pitch, that really was the Strikers and the Sockers getting together and winning $1 million. Could you imagine like that going perpetually across like the country? It would be an amazing thing. But all the players are really excited. I know Coach Obasi brought in a whole slew of new talent that's been in this league. Players from the Outlaws and the Sidekicks, which we could talk about momentarily, but also some players that he's had the opportunity to coach at TST and some of these cash prize tournaments. And I can mention some of those names too, but you got players that are excited, players that have been working really hard off season. We got Marco Fabian signed on to the 26-27 year. So that's going to be big things, not only for the Empire Strikers, but for the league. As I'm sure you've seen, Fox Deportes is going to be covering our games down south of the border. So everybody's extremely excited. And I think we're going to have one of the most competitive seasons from the Empire that we've seen in a while. I will not jinx things and go back to what I said in 22, hashtag championship bound, because maybe we did get a little ahead of ourselves then, but certainly confident with the direction the team is going in, front office and on the field as well.
I had almost forgotten about hashtag championship bound. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah. We were feeling ourselves at that period of time, but obviously, maybe that was it. If it's not karma, it's physics. Every action causes an equal, if not bigger, reaction. But either way, I think we're going to field a really competitive team. And as you saw last season, we were very competitive then. Now we have a lot more talent. I think it's going to be a fantastic season in the Inland Empire.
Well, you mentioned Marco, of course, Justin Stinson, the stinger, the shooter. We love. You're never going to lose the stinger, Justin. You've got that sting. You've got those obvious offensive players in net. You've got your rotation that has been there, done that, and now is completely indoctrinated into Obasi's system. So that should be something that gives the league trouble all year. But you mentioned it as Dallas and Texas step back for a year or however long they step back in the Lone Star State. There's good players that need to find homes in the league, and it looks like Empire has opened their doors to several of those dudes. Powell maybe at top of the list?
Yeah, Anthony Powell's coming off a year where he's played the most games and really contributed significantly to the Sidekicks offense. Steven Chavez had his best season in MASL last year for an Outlaws team that the nicest way we could put it is they struggled. And then they brought in Lucas Ramalho as well. So those are three really good players that stood out on teams that struggled for the most part. And they've integrated into the squad very well. The chemistry with the current team looks outstanding. And yeah, I think those boys are going to be happy. I know for a fact, just in speaking with them casually, they're happy to be in Southern California. Some of them are getting, all googly eyed. I mean, you've been to Ontario on the drive to see Toyota Arena. If you haven't seen mountains like that, it's quite breathtaking and beautiful, the scenery that is the backdrop of Ontario in general. So I know they're excited, and of course we're really excited to have them. I had the privilege of interviewing both Powell and Chavez on this other show I do called Soccer in 60, which is on Fox Sports Palm Springs and an ABC local KMET. So check that out. That's on the Empire Strikers YouTube page. Apologies for the shameless plug.
No apologies necessary. A small content creators still need to get all the links out all the time, so we can. But now tell me about some of these cash game guys that have come in, or TST type players who have come in. Who are some of these new names that we might be learning this year?
Dyerson Gratterall is a player that you need to be aware of. I mean, he was a TST alumnus, if you will. Felipe Dutra, big 6'4" body kid out of Connecticut. He also played at TST. Those are two off the top of my head that are really going to stand out once they figure out the games. Dutra, really excited to be here as well. This is his first professional contract. So him being of Brazilian descent, got those futsal skills, that big body at 6'4", an imposing defender he's going to be once the game starts to come to him. So those are two players that are officially signed that I could tell you about that are going to really, have an impact on the squad. You mentioned the goalies that we've had, Brian Orozco, Brandon Gomez, and look, we can't forget about a former goalkeeper of the year in the league in that of Clayson DeLima. But I can tell you firsthand, because I called a bunch of their games at TST. Brandon Gomez, mainly the one I called, because I called a lot of bumpy pitch at TST. Brandon Gomez looked incredible at TST, even scoring golazos from midfield. We all know about Brian Orozco and what he's doing. These kids have been competing in tournaments on Tuesdays in downtown LA. If you all haven't checked out The Surgeon, follow that page on Instagram. The Surgeon is an individual bedazzles like high-end sneakers and sells 1 million followers. He played in that influencers all-star game that we had at Toyota Arena, the Kaká Ronaldinho game of legends. But he hosts a tournament every Tuesday. Street culture kind of a thing, but a lot of great talent comes there. Those kids are really standing out on that front as well. So, I mean, we have an embarrassment of riches in between the sticks, as do the San Diego Sockers, obviously. But, those are some of the players that, want to talk about that I'm really, excited about. It's default that the Stinger is going to be somebody that we're jazzed up about. But then you got Munir Alami, who had an incredible rookie campaign with a year under his belt. See how many fireworks, how many lamps he lights in the sophomore season. But up and down the roster, we're looking really good. A lot of young talent, which, is crucial, in particular for the system that Obasi likes to run.
Yeah, and I think that's a great line of demarcation between these two clubs, that Empire has a lot more youth than San Diego does. I just wrote up our rookie release for released later this afternoon. By the time this airs, it's probably already out there. And like, we signed 3 rookies. One's 33, one's 32, one's 29. Like,
Still babies compared to you and I, though, Craig.
that's very fair, very fair. And in the indoor game, I think mid-30s is almost the prime of your career, potentially. But that youth, that athleticism obviously will be served for Empire. Now, here is a question that I don't think it's even answerable, but this is one of the things I'm thinking about going into the year, which is whenever you have a new system, something that is unique, the first year is where that system kind of gets unleashed on the league, and other teams don't know how to defend it. They're not sure. They've got a little bit of tape, but maybe they don't have a lot of tape, and they've got new ideas, and it can be really confounding. Sometimes with a big time system, it's that second year where the rubber meets the road, where everyone has their game plan locked in, everyone's got all the film. Is there any concern about that? Or let me ask it this way. Is there any flexibility in terms of, we're 0 goalie, but maybe we jump out of it if the circumstance warrants?
I haven't been to practice, so I can't say that I've been privy to any changes that they've utilized. But what I can tell you, if we're going to give a sports reference that a lot of us are familiar with, a complicated system that people still couldn't figure out, you'd have to go to Phil Jackson's triangle with the Chicago Bulls. I mean, people knew that it was coming, what was coming. In some cases, it was tough to defend, but it didn't work out very well initially. And sometimes it doesn't work out ever, as was the case when Phil Jackson was at the helm of the New York Knicks. Sometimes players adapt to a system better than others, but I think the vast majority of the team is really fully aware of what Coach Obasi wants and needs. And at the same time, Craig, he's one of the most cerebral people that I have ever met in the sport. I mean, even hanging out with him at the MASL Combine, the notes that he was taking, the things that he was writing, and stuff that I've never even thought about to glance or even think about as far as a player is concerned. He is so meticulous into the details that I wouldn't be surprised that not only is he working to perfect his system, but he's already got a plan B through K. Give him another year, that K will probably go to Z. I mean, that's the kind of guy that he is. I love to tell the story. Traveling with the team when he was playing for the Ontario Fury, while everybody would be passed out on the flights in the trip to Mexico. That's the one I remember. I have Frank Tayu sleeping on my shoulder. I got Panda sleeping on the other shoulder. Everybody's snoring, and what I'm seeing is Onu Obasi on his laptop watching clips of so many different games, splicing them, putting them together, creating reels, writing notes. I mean, this man is a student of the game. He loves it. Highly intelligent, highly articulate, so I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see some other things in addition to the goalkeepers coming up.
All right, let's back up and look a little bit broader then, league-wise. We're obviously excited for 6 meetings between Sockers and Strikers, and you and I will be at all of them, and who knows if there's a playoff meeting to follow. That's just the way things go between these two clubs. An 8-team MASL, of course, we've talked about it on previous episodes of this season of Soccer's Overtime. I'm all in favor of the retrenchment of the MASL, of taking a guarded half step back in order to take solid steps forward year after year. But I do feel like it kind of throws the league into a wild spot, because here's Chihuahua, 3-time defending champion. You and I maybe announced their last match at MASL. Who knows what the future holds, but in every other scenario coming into this year, there would only be one question: who can possibly, if anyone, challenge Chihuahua? Now, you take that all the way out of the mix, and, setting aside for the moment the obvious issues the league has with visas and with getting Mexican players to be able to play professionally in the United States, now you have 8 teams, and I feel like other than maybe 1 or 2, all of the clubs are looking at their roster and going, you know what? We fortified, we managed to consolidate some of the loose talent in the league, and we've got a team that can fight with the other groups in the league. I mean, maybe Tacoma taking a step back, maybe St. Louis is in a tough position, but I feel like the 6 teams that are likely to make the playoffs are all teams that think they can win the playoff.
You brought a tear to my eye, because actually it didn't even occur to me that we might have called Chihuahua's last game, because to me, I think that they're hibernating. I mean, they were a great champion, but obviously, you brought up a great point. Who was able to beat that team? Corner Sport Arena now no longer is going to be anybody's foe. which we know that's one of the toughest places to play. And you've now seen the environment. You have cut your teeth. You've climbed that infamous ladder. You know what the deal is at Corner Sport Arena. But I mean, at this point, I kind of remember back when, like during the 2021 campaign, the COVID season, when a lot of teams, had a lot of talent and it was stacked. That season, as rough as it was for the Dallas Sidekicks, they made it to the playoffs and they almost beat the Ontario Fury. I mean, there's so many talented teams, so many talented players, but, without a doubt, in my opinion, I mean, the top two teams have to be San Diego and Kansas City. I don't want to not say that a team like Milwaukee isn't going to be a contender, but of course there's going to be question marks now that Jules is no longer, at the helm. So there's that question as well. Utica also is a contender. St. Louis, you mentioned obviously a couple of the other squads, but look, San Diego is always tough one way or another. Now you bring in Nick Pereira. Now you sign Sweet Pea, Jesus Pacheco. You bring in Chris Toth. I mean, y'all are going to be ridiculously tough to play against. Kansas City is going to be ridiculously tough to play against. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say Empire would probably be in the third spot in that list that I'm talking about for now. Let's see how they compete. But I'm going to conservatively say Empire at 3 behind San Diego and Kansas City.
Well, if that's the case, that means we're going to have a whale of a season series this year with 2 of the 3 best teams locking boots 6 times here in Southern California. Now,
that much hasn't changed. I mean, seeing y'all a half a dozen times hasn't changed. But what is cool, though, we finally get to play everybody. Yeah. That's huge. And by the way, I forgot to shout out Baltimore, too. It's silly of me. Nothing but respect for the Blast. I know Sockers fans are going to cringe when I say that. But, at least we get to play each other. So when they award a shield at the end of the season, we could say, all right, look, that team deserves it because they've literally played and competed against every team.
No, I love that, and it's necessary with an 8-team league, and I'm so glad that it's there. Now, for fans who may not have realized it, you did take a MASL front office role this off season. So, in addition to all the incredible things that you're doing Strikers, hosting 5 podcasts, voicing UC Riverside Athletics on ESPN Plus, you're working to bring in corporate dollars to the MASL to raise this league's profile and to get various businesses and organizations excited about partnering up with MASL. What can you say about your first few months on the job?
So challenging, obviously, to say the least, but I'm beyond excited being here. I literally quit my career as a financial advisor, one that I've had for, going on 17 cumulative years. I mean, it helped me move out to Los Angeles. It helped me buy my house in LA. I decided to leave that to take a gamble and build a league. But that tells me, and that should tell y'all, that I believe in the direction of the MASL. And I wanted to contribute more than just being a broadcaster. This is really my passion. But at the same time, I love indoor soccer. And, people out there complain that it's not this, it's not that, but they're not doing anything about it. I want to be in the trenches. I want to go to war. I want to go out there and let people know that indoor soccer is excellent. Nothing pisses me off more, in particular, you brought up MLS, that everybody in San Diego is claiming that, there's the city started for its first ever championship. That pisses me off because, as we know, the number of stars behind your head are an indicator of that. San Diego's had a dynasty. Not starred for a champion. They've had a dynasty. And people have seemed to have forgotten about that, which really effing pisses me off. So I want to do something about it. How do we do something about it? Bring awareness. How do we bring awareness? We bring money and we market. So in my role, yes, I have the task of trying to go out there and build corporate partnerships and sponsors. The 3 most important ones that I've been going after, I can't say companies' names because I'm talking to a lot of people, y'all. I really am talking to a lot of people. But the 3 most important ones that I'm going after: travel, flights, hotels, and then car rentals. Those are the 3 big, that's the trifecta that I'm going for that helps everybody in this league out. And then from there, of course, I'm reaching out to your Fortune 5s and your big companies. But, in my attempts to get a hold of the good people in Beaverton, Oregon at Nike, I'm not going to tell them that these are our attendance numbers across the league. I'm not going to go out there and say, hey, look, we're the highest level of this. These are all true, but they don't need us to tell that story. However, we all have community initiatives, philanthropic endeavors. I mean, the Strikers did that free youth camp That's the angle I'm going in for the bigger people, is to, come on in, grassroots, help the youth out, help build soccer, make it available to all. So for the people within the trifecta, I've had a lot of conversations. Having conversations with big national sponsors. In addition, something that I've been toying around with, and again, I can't name companies right now because we're still in negotiations. Analytics is a thing that every sport is utilized. When you're watching an NFL game or even a Bundesliga game, you'll be able to see certain metrics, the fastest player on the field, the shot velocity, stuff like that. So I'm talking to people that are involved in the business of analytics, places where we could actually have the ability to track our players, time on the ball, release rate, passing network, the velocity of shot, all that stuff. Because not only is it interesting, it'll benefit the coaches. It'll help them understand certain metrics that maybe we haven't had in the past. But in addition, for people like you and I, we'll have a cool story to tell. Hey, look, so-and-so has had the most amount of distance covered. This person had the most amount of touches on the ball. Look at how Charlie Gonzalez holds it steady. He is so tough to dispossess with the time he has on the ball when he has it. The passing network between I don't know, Justin Stinson and Marco Fabian is X. And then we'd be able to really track the plus and minuses of players when they're on their shifts, similar to hockey. And basketball utilizes that as well. But we can't have that without the proper partners and the proper equipment. So those are the kind of companies that I've been going after. But, it's been a learning curve, obviously, learning the role. What I do know is how to hunt, start conversations, and sell sizzle. But at the same time, it has to be more strategic, because Phil Knight's not going to give a hoot about you and I, but his philanthropic arm might, in particular for trying to make soccer available for all.
Incredible stuff, man. Your passion always bleeds through. Everyone knows it. You've become a dear friend in the business, as well as a colleague. And I look forward to seeing you on Friday.
Yeah, I'll be there more incognito. It's funny. Anytime I go to San Diego, I think I've said this to you before, I get more recognition when I go visit the Sockers than sometimes when I walk around my own arena. And they always ask, Philly, where's the outfits? You look like a civilian. Yeah, I mean, the budgets, you know what I'm saying? I can't wear purple suits and all this sequin crap all the time. I save it for the main events. So you'll see me. I'll be there. If anything that'll indicate me is, the platinum tips that I went back to.
Love it, my man. Thank you so much, as always, for your time. All the listeners at Soccer's Overtime appreciate it.
Much love, y'all. Good luck this season. Looking forward to seeing y'all on Friday. More importantly, looking forward to a competitive game. And obviously, happy Thanksgiving.
All right. Never short of words. Christian Philly Filimon, your thoughts, Tony?
I just heard the two most impassioned voices of MASL, and honestly, it's a really cool treat to just be able to hear almost a fly in the wall conversation of what actually goes down and what it takes to lift this league and want it to be forward, and have such great representatives like yourselves and Philly on there. But hey, look, Empire's coming in and they have a system that they've been harnessing, honing, and maybe there's a different evolution of what that looks like. Obasi, as he said, is a student of the game, and hopefully he went back and studied his own film and maybe looked at different points and in ways to go ahead and trim the fat out of some of his tactics, because it was interesting and got him into playoffs, but is there a way to make that a little bit more meaningful in terms of a win-loss rate? And it brings excitement to the league, but can a team go for glory with that style? It was a good reminder. Also, the hashtag. What was their hashtag again last season?
Championship bound. Hashtag championship bound.
Yep. I mean, the odds are because of numbers. They could run that hashtag back, I guess, just in principle of
playoff bound, like hashtag playoff bound, probably.
But yeah, I mean, look, Marco Fabian clearly, kind of had a sophomore slump and took a step back. He was maybe figured out a little bit, still able to be very productive and still surprising how well he's been able to adapt to the league and in indoor play. But we'll see what this version of Marquito has in store, and these young players outside of Marco is the thing that is dangerous, because it's a system that requires a lot of fitness. And in order to defend a system that requires a lot of fitness, you yourself need that same fitness to be able to respond. So it'll be interesting to see how it comes out. And it's always fun to see a good player like Justin Stinson, even if he's on the other side. It's good to see a talent like that be able to do what he does best.
Yeah, I don't think this is a cinch of a game on Friday. And I remember Utica beating the Sockers in their home opener last year. And then thanks to one man's call, it was reversed. And we'll forever be thankful. And that's why the Shane Butler referees gate is there at Front Wave Arena, is to say, never forget, always celebrate. Thank you, Shane. But I always feel like first time out is your best chance to get the Sockers. Remember when they went up to Tacoma?
Yeah.
Dropped a big game? That was right at the start of the year. I remember a year starting 0-2. I mean, I've seen a lot of first games where even when they won, I've looked at the coaching staff or the trainer after the game or even the captain, and they were like, oh, man. Yeah, glad we got through that one. So, I'm not counting my chickens on Friday is all I'm saying. As we detailed, there's some issues on the Sockers roster. I think everyone would agree that San Diego top to bottom has more talent than Empire. But if the Strikers system can deal a blow on Friday, if the club gets a little discombobulated, hey, it is 15 wins in a row for San Diego over Ontario. I looked that up today. 15 straight wins. The last time was when Ontario Empire blew us out. If you remember that, it was February 2023. Blew the doors off. Biggest loss in soccer's history, 10-4 up at Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, the response has been 15 straight wins for San Diego. So, keep it in mind. Empire's always nipping at the heels, but usually we get into the door before we get bit. So let's keep it in mind. Yes, Randy, undefeated at Front Wave. Thank you, Shane Butler. Undefeated at Front Wave. All right, let's get you some training ground sound now, and we'll start things off. Should we start off with Chris?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, why not? Let's start off with Chris Toth, who is out there late after almost everyone had gone to the locker room, working on drilling those balls, getting the balls into the corners, getting the balls down to net from inside the yellow line. I got the chance to catch up with Chris right after we was done with that.
Chris, you're back at home. Opportunity in a couple of days to be playing here in Oceanside. What are your feelings being back with the Sockers?
Yes. Cool.
Yeah, it's really exciting for me, to bring it full circle back to where I started, back to where my dad played, and my home roots, here. Starting with the Sockers, but also born and raised. Went to Chris McAuliffe, which is here in Oceanside, so it's super exciting for me. I've been thinking about it as soon as I signed the papers back in July or whenever it was. It's huge, and my family's excited. Everybody's excited, so yeah, we can't wait for Friday.
It's got to be extra special for you that you're wearing the very number that's up here, retired on the wall, the number 1 of your dad.
Yeah, it's really special for sure. I think I didn't necessarily want to do it, but him and I spoke, and he's like, "Just take it," and it's very special for me to do that, and it'll be the last time anybody ever wears that number, so it's kind of a cool thing,
The people here in Oceanside have responded. In North County, they've responded to the Sockers. What are your thoughts on just having this arena here? I know you came in as an opponent last year. What was it like having to play in this place?
Yeah, it's different, I mean, I was just so used to the sports arena, and this place, it's just, the turf was like a big adjustment once they changed from the green to the blue. That was one thing, but it's just a beautiful place, it's really nice. It's like different lighting than what the sports arena was. It's the boards are a little bit softer, but no, I think it's a great place. I feel like the fans have a lot of energy in here. Maybe there's more fans than the sports arena had 2 years ago. I don't really know, but it's electric. There's a lot going on. The music is super loud. I remember a drone flying over and stuff. So there's a lot going on. So it's definitely electric.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that'll be different on Friday is that instead of music playing, you're going to have the supporters with your back. right behind you with the drums, the chants, the singing. I know the Brujos wanted to pass a message along to say they were very sorry for the times that they took you on when you were in Ontario or in Tacoma, but they're ready to be your best friend and to have your back this year.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. The more support, the better, and be loud. We love it. Even when I was playing against you guys, it was great. But yeah, I'm back and I'm excited.
All right.
Love that. A little bit of juggling on there, but hey, that's a happy dude. That's a happy looking dude. Like he's ready to go. Like that's so awesome to see, and then him able to really look forward to the season that's coming from a competitive standpoint. But also, it's very important for the players to just be able to enjoy where they play, and that manifests itself in positive play. So it's really good to see Chris being able to just take it all in, as Alicia was talking about. Is also very good to see them training on the floor that they're going to be playing the actual games. That's always a net positive for sure.
Yeah, and it's really hard to do at Front Wave Arena because between the Clippers games and the concerts and all the other events, it's not that often. It's less often than probably we thought with the arena being built that they would have the chance to train on the floor, but they've had that chance all week. So, that's a great thing heading into the home opener. Just wanted to add a couple of notes of context to what you watched there and what you're about to watch with Mitchell Cardenas. The first is that while practice was going on yesterday, I was doing a walkthrough with some of the captains of Los Brujos del 78, the official supporters group of the Sockers, and they were watching up in the stands as we were going to walk out together. I'm like, hang on, I got to go grab a couple interviews. So I did ask both Chris and Mitchell about the supporters group. But also, I was sending, I didn't just record those for Soccer's Overtime. Soccer's Overtime is the happy beneficiary of these two interviews. I recorded them because I was doing stringer work for a couple of television stations here in town. These sound bites are playing on Channel 10 and on Channel 7 on the evening news. So one of the things you kind of do when you're getting multiple clips, but they're going to one story, you'll hear I ask Mitchell very similar questions in his interview because I'm trying to give the editor two options on the same beat. Like, do you want this clip or do you want that clip? So just in case you're like, why did Craig ask him about this, and then the arena and then the supporters? But that's why. So speaking of which, here's a guy who wouldn't give up his number 31, leading Chris Toth's dad to say, take my number 1. Here's number 31, Mitchell Cardenas.
Mitchell, it's the longest offseason in sports. It's almost over. What are your thoughts on getting this soccer team back out here on the home floor?
Yeah, we're excited. Everyone's been kind of itching to get back to the game field. Being these days here training, it's been good. So I think we'll come out firing Friday night.
This club seemingly has a little bit of everything this year. What are your thoughts on the additions of two kind of all-time vets in Pereira and Toth?
Yeah, I think they brought competitive people first and foremost, right? People that want to win, along with Pacheco, who was in a semifinal last year against us here. And then a couple of young guys that they've signed who are hungry and going to give us a different look. So I think all those additions are going to help, and they'll put their stamp on the team when they need to.
Last year, the Sockers had their first year up here in North County. You guys had a perfect season at home. What are you expecting from the crowds this year?
Just to kind of keep building on what we did last year, right? An undefeated record at home. The crowd was a big part of that. The other team could definitely feel the pressure coming from them, especially with how close they are to the field in this arena. So we'll look for that same support this year, and we'll do our part on the field.
Speaking of support, I was just talking to some of the supporters from the North End. They're going to be planning to fill the East End here. What are your thoughts on having that kind of energy in the arena?
Yeah, we loved it when we had it at the old arena. It's the same section behind the other goals, so it's a good little place for them to kind of be in the goalie's ear when they're on that side. But yeah, they had that little supporter from outdoor element, which is always nice here.
Thank you very much, Mitchell Cardenas. And stay tuned for Los Brujos to hopefully fill the air at Front Wave Arena every match going forward. Really, really excited about it. Excited about the potential, and now it's about the supporters turning that potential into reality, showing up, filling section 119, forcing us to open another supporters section, and really bringing it. And of course, it's quite a busy week for supporters because Monday was the biggest game in STFC history, and now Saturday is the biggest game in STFC history. So, and Friday is the day before Saturday, So we'll all be there too, Tony.
We will all be there enjoying it's a monkey paw situation. We asked for all this great soccer,
right?
And here we have it, and now the Soccers are starting in their own. It's nice to hear the ASMR in the background of just indoor soccer happening, the rolling of the ball onto the floor, the boards getting smacked, the just all those little things that are just like, okay, this is what makes it feel like the season is just right around the corner, and it's really exciting to see, and good to see Michel, in prime hair to his fullest form. It's just right. It's not the cursed image of Cárdenas that one day just showed up. I'm like, is there what the goodness? Who's this guy?
Good to see Mitchell. Good to see all the boys out on the floor. As mentioned, I saw too many of them running around in the mezzanine of Front Wave Arena because they couldn't be down on the floor training with the club. And hopefully this club will be back to full strength, by January, when they go on that long road trip, and when they really need to pack, to be at top form, to pack all the results to get the Shield. The goal should be to win the Shield this year and to guarantee that the championship goes through Front Wave Arena and only through Front Wave Arena. So let's see how everything rolls. As we head into MASL news, I did want to mention one other player on the Soccers because there's a good chance he's in the lineup on Friday, and he's brand new. And his name's Mohamed Ruknipur. He goes by Marcel. He was signed to the club today, officially released and announced today. He's 33. He was born in Iran, raised in Tehran, played on the Iranian under 14 through under 18 national teams, played for a while for Orange County SC in the 2010s, played a little bit overseas as well. Hasn't been playing recently. When I looked up his transfer market page, it listed him as retired. Well, you can put that retirement in the rearview mirror. He is with the Soccers. And I was told not to use him on the Super Soccers pregame show. So that tells me that there's a decent chance that he's going to be selected to play on Friday. And he has been a forward in his career. I think he's not going to be a forward on this day unless somebody gets hurt. Or, there's a reason, a yellow card, something that, opens up time on the floor. I don't know how much time we'll see, but he is a new player that in an injury situation impressed the club enough in training that he would move into the selection zone as opposed to the non-selection zone. So worth mentioning, worth keeping an eye on. One of three young players that the club signed today, Nathaniel Lindquist, is going to be the third goalkeeper for the team as X is in Utica, plying his trade and getting better and better, hopefully week by week, month by month. And also on the team and brand new to the team is Matthew Herlo. Herlo was a forward at Chico State who was outstanding, scored 27 goals in 4 years. He's played some USL Championship as well. In fact, he was on Phoenix Rising, I think 2018-19. So he could have crossed paths theoretically with Loyal at some point, been on the pitch against Loyal. He has been a forward in his career, but he is signed as a defender here, and he's 6'3". So, if he ever gets on the floor, we'll find out what he's got to offer. So just some new names, some new faces that you might see along the way. And wanted to put especially Marcel's name in the back of your mind, because if you see him run out of the tunnel I don't want you to be like, who the heck is that? Soccer's Overtime didn't tell me about him. Like, no, So that's that.
Now you're in the know. Now you're going to be the one to tell the person next to you at Front Wave, oh, no. This is who we heard on Soccer's Overtime. That's why I need to tune in to every Wednesday at 6 p.m. to be in the know. So there you go. That's how it hopefully happens in my head canon.
And just another note on Lindquist, who goes by Natty, but Nathaniel Natty Lindquist. You take a look at him, and you would really be surprised to know that he was born and raised in Uganda, went to high school in Kenya, and still runs a nonprofit for Ugandan soccer youth to develop opportunities. When I say you'd be surprised, it's because he's as white as a sheet. Oh well, no, he's got a lovely tan, but he's very Caucasian looking. Let's just
tan with the moon.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, but cool. All right, great. So new stories to learn, new people who knows might be on Soccer's Overtime, weeks and months to come. Stay tuned. Okay, let's take a quick look at what's going on with MASL news. And the biggest news was the playoff format was announced. And hey, they didn't screw it up. 6 out of the 8 teams make it. Okay, you could have gone 4, but 6 makes sense for the league. It's going to be an NFL style or old NFL style playoff bracket. So teams 1 and 2 get first round buys. The first round will be 3 hosting 6, 4 hosting 5. Best of 3 series. Third game, a knockout game. No surprise. Semifinals will be the top 2 seeds against the winners of the first round. Top 2 seeds have home field. Best of 3, third game's a knockout game. Get to the Ron Newman Cup finals. It can be 3 full games. And that was the case last year. And if you remember, Chihuahua, when it was their call, said, no, we're going to keep it 2 games in the knockout game. We're not going to do 3 full games. San Diego would not do it that way if they were hosting. I'll tell you that right now. And I don't think many of the other teams would. So I'm expecting, unless there's some arena snafu situation, that the Ron Newman Cup finals this year, for the first time, will be a best of 3 with 3 full 60-minute matches scheduled to be played. And that's the way it should be until they expand to a best of 5 or something. That's the way it should be. So I'm really happy with this playoff format. Single table, best, 6 teams, best of 3 all the way through. Great.
It's simple. It's simplicity. And I think that's what the league needs to go ahead and do, is focus on doing the basics, the simple things correctly. And then you can start evolving and then, walk before you run. But yeah, I mean, keep it as easy as it should be, as it needs to be. We don't need a host city. I mean, even though that was kind of intriguing, if the word is correctly, just tiring.
Tiring for sure for us.
But no, it was. It's good that the league is going this way. Hey, you have 8 teams, get the best product that you can possibly get, and make Philly's job a little easier when going up to these corporate sponsors. I mean, like, hey guys, look. We're a good league. Like, look, this is not complicated. Come watch the games. You don't have to explain. Like, well, look, MLS. Like, oh, there's a series of 3, and the scores don't matter, and this and this and this and up. No. This is simple MASL, how it should be. I love it.
The league has kind of announced its broadcast situation. Kind of. It keeps dribbling out more. Different platforms. I do know that all the games will either be shown live or archived on YouTube. I believe, and I'm not sure, I believe as of now, and there might be a change with another broadcast partner announced. As of now, the only games that'll be exclusively platformed on a single place are the 18 matches that'll be on CBS Sports Golazo Network, which will include our match on Friday. You and I, Tony, will be on Golazo on Friday. Both games of the doubleheader will be on Golazo on Friday. So look for us there. Don't look for us on YouTube on Friday. We won't be there on Friday. We'll be exclusively on Golazo, which also airs on the CBS Sports app, on CBSSports.com, on Pluto, and it also, what was the one I'm forgetting? Shoot. Paramount Plus. And
Paramount
on Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on Paramount Plus, which is probably the biggest of all of those in terms of what people have the most.
Mhm.
So all of those places you can watch. Then also, games will be broadcast in Spanish this year. Not by you, unfortunately, Tony, yet. They'll be produced on site, I'm sure, from the studio. But there's going to be games airing in Spanish on Fox Sports Mexico. So just in time for the All-American version of the MASL.
I love the difference in the releases too. Like you read right now, like it's verbatim the English one, but the one in Spanish, the one that I have up here, it's goles, velocidades y espectáculo. La Majorina Soccer League ahora in Fox Mexico. Like action. This. Marco Fabian.
Answering Marlisha in the chat, yes, it should be uploaded to YouTube after it's done. All the games are supposed to be uploaded to YouTube, and last year they did that too, except for one particular game in particular for a particular reason that the league knows, but they won't say. I'm talking about the final game. I'm talking about the damn final. When a coach reached over the board and, chokeholded our player. Anyways, that one's still not available.
Yeah.
Haven't been able to cut that one up for the old resume tape. Haven't been able to pull clips for the sizzle reel from the Ron Newman Cup final that aired on CBS Sports Golazo Network, quite unfortunately. That one wasn't archived. The rest will be, I'm told, unless something super controversial happens that they don't want have people see or hear the announcer's commentary about in particular. Anyways, there are other things that National Sports Network that airs on Roku is going to carry a lot of the games. I think they talk over our broadcast. I don't mean talk, you know what I mean? Like they dub an announcing team over what's going on. So you can check that out. That's another place. And I think there's going to be more. I've heard at least of one more, but I don't want to jump the gun because I don't think they've announced it yet. Because a certain guy I might have talked to on this show earlier told me, hey, did you know that you're going to be on? And I'm like, no. I'm going to be where? The game's going to be where? Oh, no one told me. So, yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned, as always, with the MASL. Stay tuned. Things can change. Subject to change occasionally. Just taking a quick look at the league. Obviously, we'll dig into it week by week. But I think if you were going to pick favorites in this league right now, you'd say San Diego and Kansas City would be the two top favorites. KC added Dominic Francis to an already extremely strong team. I don't know what they're going to do in net, whether they're going to have Ejimadu or Neto. They've got those options once again. But, Kansas City is great. They've got the great fan base. They've got the incredible arena. They should be really strong. Empire, you just heard Philly say they think Empire can challenge for that number in the league. I think Milwaukee is a team that should not be overlooked. I know that Giuliano Oliviero is gone, as head coach, and he is terrific, but they stayed within the organization on their hire. Ian's still there. Frank's still there, right? Like, if Ian and Frank are there, and Max Ferdinand's there, and Bonahene's there, and Super Mario is there, and the rest of the cast, the Steinwashers along the way. Steinwasher! Still mad you missed that kick in OT, bro.
It's so frustrating just thinking about that game. Just so frustrating.
In my mind's eye, Javier, you're still in midair, waiting to kick that ball into the net. You're gonna blast it into the net this time and not miss.
It's confirmed. None of us are telepathic or have telekinetic powers. Otherwise, that would have done it. Like, it's just absolutely confirmed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If I could do it, it would have been done. So I think both those teams, to me, are my thought for the top half of the bracket. But there's no reason that Baltimore couldn't break into that group, honestly. And Utica, if Xavier has a big breakout season, they lose two real stalwarts of their team in Nate Bordeaux and Andrew Coughlin. But if you just look at the production numbers, I feel like those numbers are replaceable. The leadership may be less so, but the numbers should be replaceable. So I feel like Utica should be a playoff team. Baltimore should be a playoff team. And then probably if you're looking at the two that before the season starts would be thought to go into those bottom two spots, I think Tacoma is probably almost the universal pick for 8th right now. Just losing Nick, losing Chris, not really replacing those guys. They're going to go with a really, really young, very regional team in Tacoma this year. I don't know what it's going to bring them, but I wish them the best because, I really appreciate Lane up there and everything that organization has done. But, to take Nick out of Tacoma, it just feels like, whoa, is that the tent pole? But the tent collapses. And St. Louis, St. Louis is that team that's always kind of scrapping at the bottom of the standings, and they haven't dramatically improved. So that's how I see it right now, Tony. I see the most likely bye teams being San Diego and Kansas City. I see the most likely playoff teams being Empire, Milwaukee, Baltimore, Utica in some order. Maybe not that order, maybe some juggling within those 4, but I think those 4 finish 3 through 6. And then I think St. Louis and Tacoma in some order finish 7, 8. And having said that, I'm wrong all the time about all kinds of things. Just ask my wife. So, any one of these teams can break through. But that's how I see it right now.
Yeah, and I mean, if circling the wagons up in Tacoma, maybe they find themselves a little pool of talent, and for the league, right, that's healthy to be able to go ahead and do that, and more sustainability in that sense. But yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. But the top 2 for sure, top 1, it just has to have San Diego's name attached to it. There's just no excuses for that to happen. Kansas City, again, a fantastic product. Again, some of the biggest crowds, and that's a community that really responds well to the team as well over there. And yeah, I mean, everybody else is kind of, just fighting their own battles, and it just hopefully don't be the team to inspire any of the other teams to do better. I think that's the biggest rule for San Diego Soccers. Just focus on yourself. Just be very mindful of the job at hand, and you'll be taken care of. And again, don't give any ounce of inspiration by having, we beat the Soccers in match day 8. Like, no, let's just everybody go ahead and get crushed by the Soccers. Like, crushed. Like, no question. Don't leave it out.
Randy and Marlisha on top of it more than I am. Thank you, guys. Tayu is playing an M2 with Sonora. Now, Frank Tayu had his MVP campaigns down there in that tiny, tiny, tiny stadium. I have been there in Hermosillo, and he really enjoyed his time in Sonora. I remember that. Could Sonora actually be paying Frank in M2 enough for him to just be like, forget it, I'll just play here? How?
Looks like it. The king is back. El regreso del Impossible Artist es oficial. The return of the Impossible Artist is official. The maximum goal scorer of the Souls, the solar goal scorer,
yes,
is back at home to go ahead and torch the field.
Ready again to burn the field. Wow.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah, Gabe, maybe. I mean, honestly, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I literally know that team once shut down for a year because the owner was putting all his money into political funding, is what we were told. Political funding. It was an election year.
Yeah.
That's just screwy, crazy, classic, modern indoor soccer right there. Frank Tayu is playing in Sonora. Oh, okay. Randy says the Rojos are going to play there too. Well, I mean, listen, these guys like the
yeah.
Rojos and
Escalante.
Escalante and Pollo, right? I mean, how about Genaro Castillo? Pink Panther was supposed to be on the Strikers the last 2 years. Couldn't get a visa. That dude left as the MVP in Monterrey 2 seasons ago. He hasn't been able to play since. He'll probably turn up in Sonora. I don't know if one of the teams down there is, maybe trying to lure a particular contracted San Diego player that's not there. I don't know. I literally don't know. I'm not floating that like I know something. I literally don't know. But when Sonora's signing Tayu,
yeah, I mean they're going all in. It seems
I think they're the M2 favorites.
Yeah. Yep.
I think they're the favorites to clean up M2.
Just some of the kids that play in M2, and obviously some really good players, but just, hey, you're just gonna go against Frank Tayu. Like, I saw him training before that fateful Chihuahua Milwaukee Wave game at the hotel. Just like people stopped that had nothing to do with the MASL and just like, oh my God, that's an athlete. Like, okay, and just like admired this person. It's like, no, that guy's an indoor soccer player. That guy brings absolute pain and suffering if you're a defender. If only you knew how good he was. But yeah, interesting. Well,
very, very interesting. Last thing, at the end of the last show, I started telling you about some of the exciting things we have planned for this season of San Diego. I invite everybody for the 7:30 kickoff on Friday to try and get in their seats by 7 o'clock. In particular, if you're a family, I would even say try to get there closer to when gates open at 6:30, because there's a great chance if you get there before 6:30 and you're around the arena by around, say, 6:55 when the Sockers are done with their training, you'll have a great chance for those kids to get an autograph. I almost said interview. To get you can try and do an interview. To get an autograph right then and there, because the Sockers players will be going to the boards immediately after they finish their warm-up to sign autographs for 5 minutes for kids on the east side of the field. It'll be on the east side of the field, by the way, because Empire will still be warming up for another 5 minutes. We come out 5 minutes early. So drift over to the soccer side of the field if you want those autographs, because our boys aren't going to stand there and get hit by shots by Stinger and Robert Palmer and such as they're trying to sign autographs. Then right after that, as the teams take their way to the locker rooms, the Super Soccers pregame show gets started. And we'll have some of the players who aren't active working with volunteers from the crowd, with kids that have been selected by the soccer squad for fun and games and activities that are all entertainment, family angled, to be just a ton of fun and some laughs and some good times to get everybody in a great mood and hype for the match. So get there, be in your seats before 7 o'clock for the Super Soccers pregame show, which was supposed to start with the trick off for the kickoff.
Mm-hmm.
But the league spiked it.
Oh.
So,
okay.
So that won't happen.
Well,
yeah.
Is it like maybe a hopeful with the visas? Like, hey, maybe next year.
Listen, I'm not completely undaunted on this. There will be, like, on Friday, 2 kids from the stands will have a chance to do a juggle off to earn the right to get the ceremonial first kick.
Love that
for the match. So that's fun. That's fun. It's still good. It's not as good as a player from each of the starting teams juggling off for the chance to have the opening kickoff. But apparently on the coach's call, injury concerns were cited as a possible and competitive concerns. So they need to go back to the far more competitive coin flip.
No, the strategic. 100%. The strategy, the percentages, the permutations of 50%. Yeah. Sure.
So, needless to say, I'm pretty disappointed about that. But I also respect that we were trying to do something very ambitious, and that if you ask a coach somewhere else in the country for this, they're going to automatically say no because they're going to be scared. People are always afraid of change, and especially something they don't understand, and they don't understand the reason why. And if anyone thinks that there's a 0.01 chance that it affects their ability to win, then they're going to say no. But undaunted, I still think it would be a great idea. I'm still fighting to see if we can have it happen, at some point this year. Once the season gets started, I think it's a lot harder to get a league to agree to do something. But, we got it as far up the flagpole as we could until they burned the flag and threw it back at us. So... Look, they said in a very kind email, please keep having creative ideas. We don't want to, we don't want to tamp down your creative spirit. We just want to pour a bucket of cold water on this one.
Well, it's all good. The intent is there. And again, having driving forces like yourself and Philly in these new roles and spots once again is awesome to, hey, maybe next year, maybe something even better comes out of it. And they see the value of like, wow, the fans are coming here early. They want to get engaged. They feel like it's more bang for their buck, more, more money coming in, little concessions opening earlier. Hey.
We're past an hour and a half, so I want to get out. But just to answer your question, Randy, this is something we talked about last week too. Our goal as an organization is to keep the wonderful post-game traditions that we have seen since the first year at Del Mar Arena alive, but to also respect what's going on with security and to avoid this conflict that you are writing about in our comments section. The intention now is to take the post-game autograph session to the Paula Starlight Lounge and Plaza, and to just transition it, to not change it, to, in my mind, improve it, because you're there on equal footing with players from the match, as opposed to having boards in between. You have to run down to the beginning. You have to get it. There's all sorts of kids, blah, blah, blah. Now adults and kids can be part of the interaction post-match. The Paula Starlight Lounge is wonderful. The patio area, that area back there, you see it kind of backlit there on the left side of the AI diagram. That can be totally where we are. And I think it'll develop to be really good. I definitely think that it's going to take some clunking and some, bumbling in the first couple of matches as people instinctively go to the boards. And I bet you instinctively players are like, no, let's just sign this one, or these 20. And then it just completely discombobulates the plan. I can very much imagine those things happening early on and people getting frustrated. But the goal is, at the end of the match, for the guys to do the lap around, for them to celebrate the crowd, for everyone to do their handshakes, and then for it to be announced, this is transitioning to the Paula Starlight Lounge. We'll see you there. Head on over now. Players will be there. We'll see you there. And from the player's standpoint, what we've told them is don't do anything that you didn't do before. If you hung out in the field for 20 minutes, hang out there for 20 minutes. It's 30 feet away from where you were before. So hopefully that works out. Everything from the Super Soccer's pregame show to our supporters being there to this, all these are new concepts that are being either introduced or reintroduced. There's going to be growing pains guaranteed along the way. It's just the nature of it. We're a small organization in a small league, but we're working to make this the most family, kid, fun, friendly experience in the league. And, hopefully then we upgrade that to in San Diego soccer, and then we upgrade that to in the universe, so that's our goal. That's what we're working on. And that's what we're going to try and do. And with that, we have struck while the iron was hot and the iron is now cold. And for you and I, we recalibrate for entirely not to do.
It's literally a switch. Like I'll watch. I'll just do it really quick here. If you want to see how quick this is going to be turned around, boom, just like that.
Just like that. I'm going to change this. I might change some of this. And then we'll be right back with the Chromaniacs recording to come. But thanks to everybody for being here. If you haven't hit that like button yet, please do that on the way out on our live broadcast. If you are watching and you made it to the end, and you can give us that like button, a kind comment below, 5-star rating on podcast, quick written review on Apple Podcasts. All of those things are great for us. And Tony, on this incredibly busy week for San Diego professional football, what can the people find at SanDiego.Futbol?
Well, that's everything that has to do with soccer in this beautiful and wonderful city. San Diego FC, media availability, post-match availability, the Chromaniacs, 2 balls and a mic. Everything. Soccer's overtime. It's honestly very humbling to be able to be a part of the tapestry of soccer in San Diego. And here it is, SanDiego.Futbol, Craig.
And for me, you can follow me on Instagram at 619 Sports and Life. You can follow the Chromaniacs at the Chromaniacs, which is nothing to do with this show, but I'll just say that anyways. And Padres Hot Tub continues apace, patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. If you want to support me there, that directly helps me and my partners. If you're a big fan, I'm such a big fan, what can I do to help? Someone said to me at the tailgate. Patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. That helps me. So please do. For Tony Sanchez, I'm Craig Elston. We'll talk to you Friday on Golazo. Until then, take care and go Sockers.
Go Sockers.